Another lesson that we learnt in Brisbane from this fire is that we can utilise the SES a lot more than we have in the past. We had SES people in the IMT helping out at the control point and doing things such as catering as well for us. And one of the most important things from all this was we're looking after the crews, because there's nothing worse, as we all know, going to a job and not having our crews fed and watered. The SES were able to provide support for that and did a very good job of that.
One of the positives was that the Brisbane City Council and the rural people in particular, and later on the urban people, had a very good understanding of the terrain, the location, and previous fires that had occurred in this area. It was important for me, and it's been a hot button of mine for a long time as well, to make sure that we had an integrated incident command process. And so for that reason I used Brisbane City Council in planning and the rural people in the operations, and as it turned out, our urban people in the control and logistics function with the control point vehicle. So that worked extremely well.
Obviously, sort of the extended time that some of these incidents goes on, it's extremely difficult for fire alone to staff those particular rooms, and certain aspects such as logistics and other aspects of that of the Regional Fire Coordination Centre can be done by other outside agencies, and in a lot of cases we do employ those outside agencies from within the department itself, Emergency Management Queensland staff and other agencies such as Brisbane City Council. They have bush firefighting teams, and they can give us some feedback from their teams and what they're seeing on the ground as well.
Saw some really good leadership aspects in our incident management team. People I hadn't worked with before, but we all understand and work from the same principle of IMS. And some of the guys that were incident controllers really demonstrated good management skills and good leadership skills. They actually managed the people in the team and not the fire itself. Some of the guys are still a little bit intent on wanting to use a radio all the time. That's not their role anymore, and as the team developed, we worked that sort of thing out too. Some of our crew leaders, I think, struggled a little bit, partly because we didn't give them enough information on exactly what we wanted them to do. Once we were able to brief them very well and give them a document to follow, they then could stand up and lead their crew because they had all the information that they needed. Initially, some of the guys were a little bit hesitant about reporting to someone outside of their agency. But again, once the information was provided, then that person could stand up and say, this is what we've been tasked to do, this is what we're going to do it, this is your role as a part of this sector, and let's go and do our job. Everyone was right then. So it's the clear lines of communication from all levels of that leadership to allow those people to do their jobs properly. When we're going into property defence, that's when the leadership traits of our people really come true. And you can really see people who know their job well, they know their gear, they know their crews, they can direct very clearly, give very concise directions about what their objectives are here. People go and do their stuff.
There was good support from the people in the houses. They were letting us know any areas around them that needed to be protected. But it was from everyone up there, it was good support.
The regional coordinator plays an extremely important role in that room. It's quite easy for an RFCC to try to lower the level and act as an ICC or an incident management team. Of course, we're in a coordination role up there, and as we looking at all of the resources across the region, it's important for us not to be drawn into the specifics of that fire and how we would handle the fire itself.
Outcomes of this job I think were great. We had good management skills, some really good leadership, some good planning went into it, and obviously the outcome of that was that we didn't lose any properties, our defence worked really well, none of our fireys got injured, none of our equipment got knocked around, and that's got to be a bonus really. And there are our three things: that we can protect life and property and in ourselves, protect ourselves and our own gear. And I think we've met our objectives very well.
It was just a difficult day, and I don't think, wind's always your problem. If you get wind and dry wind, you're going to be working pretty hard to contain anything, particularly if it's been dry like it has. It's just been declared the worst drought we've ever had. So everything was dry. We were always going to be in trouble, I thought. The resources and that we had were good, but once again, those helicopters, even if they never had any water, they were great to just be able to tell you where to go and what to do.
I think they were very happy for the response that they got from the helicopters and ourselves, the fire crews on the ground. I just think that we have the ability to use these helicopters. If anyone is in any doubt of getting them, the sooner you can get them, the better. It will make a small job, whereas we thought this was going to be a small job, which turned into 3 days. So we've got them, let's use them.
Overall, I was very pleased with the way the outcomes of this fire went. We didn't, as I mentioned earlier, we didn't lose any property. The firefighters and the officers performed extremely well. There were some lessons we got from the IMT and the control point. But most of all, I think the lessons we learned from this is interagency ability to work with other agencies. We had an unprecedented amount of different type of agencies here, from the Department of Defence right through to the local council. All of these people worked extremely well with us. Overall, the job went very well. Certainly the first 4 hours of the job were probably the worst part of the whole job, and largely due to the fact that we didn't staff our IMT sufficiently.
I believe each fire season we're getting better, and I think in the past we've had some concerns about the cost and overtimes and such, and we've certainly been told by the Commissioner that this should not be a factor when we're looking at preparing for bushfires, especially on those days that are forecast to be in sort of what may be tragic circumstances if we're not ready for them.
I guess one of the most important lessons that I've got out of this whole scenario was that we need to hit our fires early when they're in areas such as this, in a Type 1 I zone. Due to the number of assets, the large number of assets and the houses that are involved, we really have to get in there and try and put that fire out as quickly as possible.